Few people believe me when I tell this story, but I can't help but share it with you. Maybe someone has had something like this happen. And so I'll start. I was 17 years old at the time. My brother was taken into the army and the room we lived in was now completely mine. It was a very hot summer. Even at night it was very stuffy and I slept with the window open. One day I heard footsteps coming from above at night. Living on the top floor of a 9-story building, I was a little wary. I went to my parents' room and asked if they had heard footsteps upstairs or not. My parents were watching a movie on TV and didn't hear anything. Dad calmed him down and said that most likely the lovers had climbed onto the roof again to admire the stars. My father really convinced me and I calmly went on to sleep. On the second day, everything happened again. I heard footsteps on the roof again. The only thing that seemed strange to me was that the steps were not frequent and shuffling, as if the one who was on top did not lift his legs while walking. Putting aside the bad thoughts, I fell asleep. The main thing I wanted to tell you happened on the third day. As usual, I got ready to go to bed around midnight. After taking a cool shower, I opened the window in the room wide open and got into bed. At my feet was my dog, Rax, who followed me around all day, which was strange. He had never done this before. I was lying with my back to the window and the pleasant night air filled the room. There were footsteps on the roof again. It took about half an hour when Rax, who was lying with his muzzle to the window, started growling and it woke me up. I looked at the dog with sleepy eyes. He was lying motionless, but he was grinning angrily and growling, looking towards the open window. I turned my head and saw something with a long body coming down from the roof, leaning on the ledge with one hand, and the other thin hand with a huge brush was already in my room. I couldn't really see the head. I couldn't breathe from fear. I wanted to scream, but it didn't work out. Rex immediately jumped up and started barking. In an instant, the something disappeared outside the window. At the barking of the dog, the parents ran into the room. When they heard my story, they offered to spend the night in their room. The next night, my father was on shift, and my mother and I were alone. When I heard footsteps on the roof at the usual time, I ran to my mother in fright. She was standing in the middle of the room, and outside, something was scratching at the window. Within a month, the apartment was sold, and we moved to another area.